The 1980s gave us AC/DC shaking stadium walls with Back in Black. The Police weaving razor-sharp tension through Ghost in the Machine. And Joan Jett firing pure rebellion with I Love Rock and Roll. But that was only the beginning. From iconic anthems to overlooked gems, these are 10 rock albums from the 1980s that changed music forever. Number 10. Pretenders to Buy the Pretenders.
That's my mystery. I'm the adulteress.
A fierce blend of swagger, vulnerability, and razor wire guitars, Pretenders 2 arrived like a late-night broadcast you stumbled upon and never forgot. Released in 1981, it carried the band's momentum from their explosive debut while diving into darker corners. It was a record born from constant touring.
I stand accused, the worst crime in history.
Backstage chaos, and a lineup straining under the weight of sudden fame. Legend has it that Chrissie Hynde recorded some vocals after marathon shows, her voice still smoky from the night before, giving the album its lived-in grit. Tracks like Message of Love and Talk of the Town sounded like they were meant for neon-lit streets and cracked vinyl spinning in college dorm rooms.
Takes my hand, stares into the world.
The tragedy that soon hit the band gives this album a bittersweet glow today. But its mix of punk energy and melodic finesse still echoes through modern alternative rock. Different city, same rebel heartbeat. Our next band carried the torch. Number 9, Eliminator by ZZ Top. Eliminator did not just update ZZ Top's sound, it rewired rock for the MTV age. Dropping in 1983, it fused boogie blues grit with slick, synth-flavored production that reportedly startled even longtime fans when the band first played early mixes. But one spin of Gimme All Your Lovin' or Sharp Dressed Man, and suddenly the future of rock felt closer than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, legend says the band obsessed over drum machines and sequencers, spending long nights layering grooves until everything locked into that unmistakable Eliminator pulse. Then came the music videos. Chrome hot rods, spinning guitars, and those iconic beards turned the album into a cultural moment as big as the riffs themselves. It became a soundtrack for late-night drives, mall arcades, and anyone who wanted a taste of swagger with a neon edge. Its influence on 1980s rock production still shows up everywhere. Turn the dial up. This next track set the sound on fire. Number 8, The Swing by INXS. When The Swing landed in 1984, it marked the moment INXS transformed from rising Australian hitmakers into global contenders. Produced with a sleeker, more rhythmic edge, the album blended rock, funk, and new wave into a sound that felt tailor-made for a decade racing into the future. By most accounts, the band pushed themselves harder than ever in the studio, experimenting with grooves, leaning into dance-driven beats, and sharpening Michael Hutchence's seductive and cinematic vocal presence. Original Sin, the breakout track, carried a boldness that set it apart from everything on the radio at the time. Rumor has it the band knew immediately they had tapped into something bigger, something that could lift them from bar rooms to world stages. And it did. Soon, The Swing was spinning in clubs, on FM rock stations, and on bedroom stereos everywhere. It became a gateway album for fans who would follow INXS all the way into superstardom. If that was thunder, the next one is lightning. Number 7. Paradise Theater by Styx. Released in 1981, Paradise Theater was more than an album. It was a full-scale rock opera disguised as a chart-topping blockbuster. Inspired by the rise and fall of a real Chicago theater, Styx built a metaphor for American optimism fading into uncertainty, and listeners connected instantly with its mix of ambition and radio-ready hooks.
So take your seats and don't be late.
Behind the scenes, the band reportedly wrestled with the scale of the project. Dennis DeYoung pushed for a grand narrative arc, while Tommy Shaw fought to keep the guitars sharp and the songs punchy. That creative tension sparked some of the most enduring tracks of their career, from the soaring "The Best of Times" to the rebellious jolt of "Too Much Time on My Hands." Fans remember spinning this record while staring at the gleaming marquee cover art, imagining spotlights sweeping the sky.
So what you doing tonight?
Today, it remains one of the most successful concept albums of the 1980s and proof that big ideas and big rock can still top the charts. One of the top 3 albums literally saved a career, but we are not there yet. And the story behind this next cut still sparks debate among fans. Number 6. Freedom of Choice by Devo. When Devo released Freedom of Choice in 1980, critics still struggled to categorize them. Were they pranksters, prophets, or punk scientists in hazmat suits? The album did not answer that question. Instead, it blew it wide open. With robotic grooves, skewed guitars, and that unmistakable Devo twitch, the band carved out a future where rock and technology collided head first. Recording sessions were reportedly a whirlwind of synth experimentation and oddball engineering tricks. Legend says they layered percussion parts using everyday objects found around the studio, chasing the perfect mechanical heartbeat. And with Whip It leading the way, the album became a cultural event, blasting from college dorms, roller rinks, and late-night radio stations where listeners debated whether Devo were joking or issuing a warning. Today, the album's themes feel eerily ahead of their time, and its tight, pulsating sound remains a blueprint for generations of alternative and electronic artists. Quick pit stop. If these classics still give you goosebumps, hit like so more rock fans can find this. And stick around, because the top albums are the ones that truly define the decade. We have rocked hard enough. Now for a slow burn anthem that hits the gut. Number 5. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. In 1985, Dire Straits delivered an album that felt like a quiet revolution. Brothers in Arms was not loud or flashy, and it did not lean on neon attitude. It was patient, atmospheric, and deeply human. Mark Knopfler's finger-picked guitar lines drifted like smoke, and the band embraced cutting-edge digital recording to create a sound that felt impossibly crisp.
Someday you'll return.
Rumor says Knopfler was meticulous to the point of obsession, reworking tones late into the night to capture the spacious, cinematic feel he wanted. Money for Nothing became MTV's most ironic anthem, while the title track hit listeners straight in the chest. It was a slow-burning meditation on conflict and sacrifice that became a global rallying point.
So many different songs.
Fans remember hearing this album through big foam-covered headphones, letting the clean guitar notes wash over them like rain on a windshield. Today, Brothers in Arms stands as a defining blend of artistry and technology. Turn the dial up. This next track set the sound on fire. Number 4, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps by David Bowie. By 1980, David Bowie had reinvented himself more times than most artists dream of. But Scary Monsters was the moment he sharpened every experiment into a single, defiant statement. It marked his return from the Berlin era with jittery guitars, fractured rhythms, and a voice that sounded both haunted and laser-focused. Sessions were reportedly intense. Robert Fripp's blistering guitar lines were captured in only a few takes, locking in raw energy Bowie loved. Ashes to Ashes pulled fans into a dream world of nostalgia and dread, revisiting Major Tom while pushing bold new wave boundaries. It was Bowie stitching together past personas and future ambitions and somehow making the result feel utterly modern. Listeners who dropped the needle in 1980 still recall that first jolt. Art rock had grown teeth. The album became a template for post-punk and proved that Bowie could still lead the parade. If that was thunder, the next one is lightning. Number 3, The Joshua Tree by U2.
Going to be shooting their video here in LA at 7th and Main Street.
7th and Main Street.
When The Joshua Tree arrived in 1987, it felt less like an album release and more like a cultural event. U2 took the American landscape, its deserts and highways and midnight prayers, and turned it into an epic rock pilgrimage. Bono's vocals reached new emotional heights, and the Edge's shimmering guitar became the defining sound of an era.
Sleight of hand and twist of fate on a bed.
Behind the scenes, the band reportedly battled contrasting visions. One side aimed for gritty Americana, while the other searched for spiritual uplift. Producers Daniel Lanois and Brian Eno pushed them to strip back and dig deeper, chasing moments that felt almost sacred. With or Without You and Where the Streets Have No Name quickly became anthems, echoing from boom boxes to stadiums filled with fans singing every word. This was the album that elevated U2 from rising stars to global icons. By most accounts, it saved their momentum and secured their legacy. And the story behind this next cut still sparks debate among fans. Number 2, Moving Pictures by Rush. In 1981, Rush released Moving Pictures, the rare album that thrilled longtime prog devotees while also pulling in brand new listeners. It was a turning point where complexity met clarity. The songs were tighter, more direct, and packed with some of the most distinctive riffs of the decade. Tom Sawyer alone felt like a sonic announcement that Rush had evolved once again. Recording sessions were said to be intense and highly collaborative. Neil Peart refined drum parts with near-athletic precision, while Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson explored synth textures that added atmosphere without sacrificing rock power. Fans still talk about the first time they heard YYZ, marveling at how something so technical could feel so exhilarating. For teenagers in 1981, this album was a rite of passage. It blasted from car stereos, filled basement hangouts, and stretched cassette tapes thin from constant rewinding. Today, Moving Pictures stands as Rush's crowning achievement. Our number 1 album split critics at release, then conquered the world. Number 1, Back in Black by AC/DC. When AC/DC released Back in Black in 1980, the band stood at a crossroads. They were grieving the loss of Bon Scott and unsure whether they would continue. What followed was not just a comeback. It was one of the most electrifying rebirths in rock history. Legend says producer Robert John "Mutt" Lang pushed the band harder than ever, sharpening every riff and drum hit until the track slammed with volcanic force. Brian Johnson stepped into the vocal booth with raw emotion and sky-high grit, turning songs like Hell's Bells and You Shook Me All Night Long into instant stadium staples. Fans remember hearing the opening bell for the first time. It felt like a memorial, a battle cry, and a promise all at once. Critics were divided at first, unsure the band could pull off such a dramatic transition. The world answered loudly. Back in Black became one of the best-selling rock albums of all time and a defining blueprint for heavy 1980s rock. If that brought back memories, tap like and subscribe to keep the classics alive. From arena-shaking anthems to forgotten gems, these albums prove why rock's golden era will never die. Next up, 10 rock albums from the 1970s that changed music forever. Forgotten gems. It is waiting for you on screen.